Welcome back to my channel Celeb Buzz. Please share and subscribe and press the bell icon for new updates.
He utterly hated him. Not just a passing dislike, not a small grudge. No, this was a deep burning hatred that consumed him for years. And the man who was the object of this fury? Gregory Peck. The question that haunts us today is why? Why did Chuck Connors, a man admired for his talent, his integrity, and his strength, despise Gregory Peck so intensely? What dark secret or buried conflict could have ignited such a fire? What could turn two legends of Hollywood against each other? Oh, the story begins with Chuck Connors, born in Brooklyn, New York on April 10, 1921, to Irish immigrant parents. The world Connors entered was far from glamorous. Raised during the Great Depression, he learned the hard truths of perseverance and survival. The lessons of his youth would shape him into something extraordinary. A towering athletic figure, Connors became one of the rare few to achieve greatness in not one, but two major American sports. Basketball, where he played for the Boston Celtics, and baseball, where he donned the uniform of the Chicago Cubs. In the sports world, his name became synonymous with dedication, talent, and success. But it wasn't on the court, or the field where Chuck Connors would make his indelible mark. No, it was in Hollywood, where his towering frame, chiseled jawline, and piercing eyes would captivate audiences. His transition from athlete to actor seemed inevitable. And in the early 1950s, Connors stepped into the world of entertainment, bringing with him a blend of raw masculinity and relatable warmth. His presence was undeniable. Then came the rifleman, the role that would define him forever. As Lucas McCain, the widowed rancher with a moral compass as sharp as his aim, Connors struck a chord with America. The rifleman became a classic. For 5 seasons, millions tuned in to watch him raise his son, fight injustice, and embody the very ideals of the American frontier. His portrayal of McCain was a rare blend of ruggedness and tenderness, making him a beloved figure in households across the nation. But Hollywood has a way of revealing hidden truths. And as much as Connors gave to the world, there was something he kept buried, a hatred so deep that it overshadowed everything. And that hatred was directed at Gregory Peck. The question isn't just why he hated him, but how? How could two men, both talented, both beloved, both at the top of their game, come to a point where one would harbor such disdain for the other? To understand this, we have to go deeper into a rivalry that began long before Hollywood cameras started rolling. It wasn't just a professional rivalry. It was personal. Chuck Connors wasn't just a man of physical strength. He was a man of pride. A man who had fought for everything he achieved, from the dusty baseball fields to the hardwood courts. He had a fierce sense of justice, but more than that, he had an unwavering belief in the idea of what a man should be. And when he crossed paths with Gregory Peck, a man who, in many ways, represented everything Connors loathed, it was as though the universe itself had set them on a collision course. Peck, on the other hand, was the epitome of class. Refined, intellectual, and with a reputation that was as polished as his image. He didn't have the rugged edges that Connors did, the tough guy persona that spoke to the working-class roots of America. No, Peck was the handsome, idealized version of a leading man. And for Connors, that was something he could never reconcile. It was more than just the differences in their public personas. It was a clash of values, of beliefs. Connors saw Peck as a symbol of the Hollywood establishment, the kind of actor who catered to the high society while never fully understanding the struggles of the everyday man. Peck, in turn, likely saw Connors as a rough-hewn figure, someone who would never fit into the world of glamour and grace he inhabited. Or did it continue to haunt him, affecting his career, his relationships, and his sense of self until the end? The truth is, we may never know the full extent of his inner turmoil, but one thing is clear. Chuck Connors and Gregory Peck were two sides of the same coin, each with their own struggles, their own battles, and their own demons. Hollywood, as many have learned, is not just a place of dreams. It's a place where rivalries are born, nurtured, and sometimes even die. But what often gets lost in the public eye is that these rivalries are rarely just about competition. They run much deeper than that. They speak to something far more primal: pride, self-worth, and the desperate desire for validation. For Connors, the rivalry with Peck wasn't merely a professional conflict. It was something deeply personal. The thought that no matter how many roles he played, No matter how many fans adored him, he would always be measured against a man whose star shone just a little brighter in the eyes of the world. That gnawing feeling of inadequacy, it's a feeling many of us can relate to, even if we've never been in the public eye. The idea that no matter how much we try, we may always be compared to someone who embodies everything we could never be. But the problem with rivalries like this is that they often blind us to our own worth. In the case of Chuck Connors, the more he compared himself to Gregory Peck, the more he saw his own flaws, his own limitations. The more the gap between them seemed to widen, the more he failed to appreciate the incredible legacy he was building for himself. He was a legend in his own right, but in the shadow of Peck, it was easy to forget that. Hollywood is a place where image is everything. It's a place where public perception can often feel more real than the truth. And when you're living in the glare of those spotlights, it becomes easy to lose sight of who you really are, what you've really accomplished. Peck may have been the darling of the Hollywood elite, but Connors was the embodiment of something else. Something raw, something real. Connors had given the world iconic performances in Old Yeller, where he played the heartbroken father trying to navigate the pain of letting go, and in Soylent Green, where his portrayal of a man trapped in a dying world left audiences with a sense of haunting truth. And of course, there was his role in The Rifleman, a show that became a cornerstone of American television history. His performance as Lucas McCain, the moral backbone of his family, resonated with millions. Yet, despite all of this, the shadow of Gregory Peck's success never truly left him. But there's a deeper lesson here, one that transcends the bitterness of rivalry. It's the truth that often gets lost in the noise of competition and comparison. Sometimes, the most important battles we fight are not against others, but against the versions of ourselves that we project onto the world. Sometimes we need to stop looking at the shadows of others and start seeing the light we carry within ourselves. So as we look back on the lives of Chuck Connors and Gregory Peck, we must ask ourselves, did Chuck Connors ever find peace with his feelings? Did he learn to see himself not through the lens of comparison, but through his own eyes? Did the animosity ever fade, or did it remain a constant part of his life until the end? We'll never have the full answer. But what we do know is that their rivalry, fueled by a mix of pride, regret, and unspoken conflict, speaks to the complexity of fame, the fragility of the human spirit, and the way that even the most celebrated figures can carry deep, unresolved struggles. Hollywood may have been a place of dreams for both men, but it was also a place where the deepest wounds could be inflicted, and sometimes those wounds never heal. As we reflect on the lives of Chuck Connors and Gregory Peck, let us remember that sometimes the greatest battles are fought not in front of the camera, but in the quiet spaces of the heart, where the shadows of resentment loom, and where true redemption can only come when we finally face our own fears and doubts. If you enjoyed uncovering this hidden piece of Hollywood history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about Chuck Connors' deep hatred for Gregory Peck? Could there have been a different ending to their story? Let's talk about it.